In the heart of a small coastal town, the cold wind whistled through the cracks of the old orphanage, creating a haunting melody that echoed with the loneliness of its young inhabitants. 10-year-old Noah sat near the window of his cramped room, peering out at the turbulent sea as waves crashed against the jagged rocks below. The orphanage, worn and weary with peeling paint and creaking floors, felt like a cage, confining him within its walls and reminding him of a past marked by loss. Abandoned by his father when he was just a toddler, each day at the orphanage felt heavier, filled with reminders of a love that existed only in distant memories. Laughter from other children drifted through the hallways, an alien sound that deepened the sense of isolation that gripped his heart. The outside world, however, was an inviting sanctuary, where the salty breeze offered him brief solace from the echoes of his loneliness. Noah often wandered along the shoreline, imagining that one day his father would return from the ocean, a heroic figure riding the crest of a wave to take him away from this life. One day, while scouring the sands for shells, he stumbled upon something that sent a thrill through him, an old half-buried boat, its wood bleached and battered by time and tide. Curiosity sparked within him, urging him to explore this forgotten vessel. As he climbed inside, the world around him faded, and for a moment he felt a sense of belonging that had eluded him for so long. The rotting timbers and rusted tools told stories of voyages past, igniting a flicker of hope in his heart. As he explored further, Noah discovered a hidden compartment beneath a splintered plank, his fingers brushing against something cool and metallic. He pried it open to reveal a small dusty box engraved with his father's initials. A surge of recognition coursed through him, awakening long-buried emotions. Taking a deep breath, he opened the box to find old maps filled with his father's dreams of adventure at sea. Nestled among the fragile papers were letters written in shaky handwriting, filled with love and aspirations, as well as seashells and trinkets from distant ports. Each letter whispered stories that transformed his sorrow into understanding, unraveling the mystery of a father's love that transcended absence. If you also feel this ache in your chest, consider liking and subscribing. Someone else might need to hear this story today. In that moment, Noah realized that his father, despite his physical absence, had left behind a legacy of hope. As he slipped the box back into its hidden spot, he felt a part of himself transform, knowing that he carried his father's spirit with him, a reminder that dreams could guide him toward a brighter tomorrow. Noah often found himself lost in the memories of a life he barely knew, the fragments of which were stitched together by fleeting images and scattered whispers. The orphanage, where he had spent most of his life, was a place that thrived on the echoes of laughter and the hard edges of disappointment. Each day blended into the next, filled with routine chores and stale meals that tasted of forgotten dreams. Yet, amid the chaos of his surroundings, he clung to the faint recollections of his father, memories that danced just beyond the reach of his grasp. They were like shadows against the backdrop of his mind, elusive yet strikingly vivid. He remembered the warmth of a hand on his small shoulder, the sound of laughter that rang like music, and a pair of deep, comforting eyes that seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. Often, he would lay in the cramped dormitory he shared with other children, staring up at the cracked ceiling as the sound of the caretaker's footsteps echoed through the hall. The smell of stale laundry mixed uncomfortably with the dampness of the walls, creating an atmosphere that was both familiar and stifling. In those moments, Noah would close his eyes, transporting himself back to a time when life was not confined to these walls. He could almost feel the presence of his father beside him, filling the void with stories of adventure and distant lands. The memories surfaced on the wind that blew in from the sea, carrying with it the scent of salt and the cries of gulls that soared overhead. His heart ached with longing each time he gazed out at the waves, as if they held the key to his past. The orphanage was a sanctuary for many, a safe haven for those left behind by life's relentless tide. Yet for Noah it was a prison, each room a reminder of the family he had lost, the father who had chosen to disappear into the depths of the ocean rather than stay by his side. One evening, as dusk painted the world in shades of blue and grey, he sat alone on the narrow staircase, watching the shadows stretch across the floor. The whispers of the other children faded into background noise as he pondered his life. Despite being surrounded by peers, He often felt invisible, a mere ghost wandering through their vibrant lives. Curiosity burned within him, urging him to uncover the truth about his father's disappearance. What had happened to the man he had loved before he could even fully comprehend the nature of that love? Determined, he began to piece together the fragments of his past, remembering conversations overheard in hushed tones. There was something about a storm, a fierce tempest that had raged one fateful night, altering the course of his family's history forever. The words of the staff members floated around him like specters, their stories intertwining with his memories. A shipwreck, a desperate plea for help that had never been answered. His mind raced at the thought, leaving him tangled in uncertainty. If only he could learn the full story. Perhaps he would discover why his father had not returned, what had pulled him away from Noah's little hand and into the unforgiving arms of the sea. He sought out relics from his father's life left behind in the orphanage, items that could unlock the mystery of his absence. In every corner he searched for hidden truths, old trunks in storage rooms that smelled of mildew, forgotten toys left behind, photographs tucked in dusty books, all hints of a man whose legacy was tragically half-written. Each discovery fueled his determination, lifting the weight of despair off his chest for brief moments. Noah found himself drawn back to the little boat that had washed ashore, the vessel that had offered him a glimpse into his father's life. With each trip to that sanctuary, he marveled at how the boat seemed to beckon him closer with its secrets. He pictured his father aboard, the wind whipping through his hair as he shared dreams of distant lands with a younger Noah sitting at his side. The box containing the maps and letters had sparked something deep inside him, an ember of hope and the desire to uncover more. One day, while rummaging through old trunks in the attic of the orphanage, Noah stumbled upon something that made his heart race. An old photograph, slightly crumpled and faded, showed a young man standing proudly on the deck of a ship, the ocean stretching out behind him. The resemblance was uncanny. There was no denying that this sailor was indeed his father. The thrill of recognition coursed through him, coupled with a pang of yearning so fierce it brought tears to his eyes. He could hardly believe that this man, this brave adventurer, had once feared nothing more than losing his beloved son. As he held the photograph close, Noah realized that he would not rest until he unveiled the truth. If it meant digging deep into his father's past, he would follow the clues wherever they led. He could feel the weight of destiny resting on his young shoulders, the calling of adventure awakening the courage buried deep within him. The tide was turning, and for the first time he felt empowered, no longer just a boy dreaming of what was lost, but a seeker on the brink of discovery. If you also feel this ache in your chest, consider liking and subscribing. Someone else might need to hear this story today. With a newfound determination, Noah set his sights on the horizon beyond the orphanage, knowing that within the waves lay answers he was destined to find and a legacy to uncover that would shape his future forever. Every small find deepened his resolve, and he began to feel a connection not just to his past, but to the very essence of who he was destined to become. The journey ahead was daunting, but Noah embraced the unknown, ready to navigate the uncharted waters of his family's history. Noah woke the next morning with a sense of excitement and trepidation, believing today could be pivotal in his quest for truth. As he navigated the familiar creaks of the orphanage, each step felt charged with purpose. After heavy breakfast, he hurried back to the attic, where forgotten treasures awaited his discovery. The photograph of his father had ignited a hunger in him, an urge to connect with the man whose absence had shaped his life. He envisioned that somewhere in the attic, from a sea of dusty memories, more fragments of his father's existence could surface, potentially revealing the story of both love and loss. Climbing the creaky stairs, Noah felt the chill of the attic surround him. The smell of aged wood and forgotten things filled the air, and he found a few more boxes he hadn't yet searched. With deliberate care, he pulled one down, revealing a disarray of trinkets, clothing, and old novels. Hope fluttered in his heart as he sifted through it all, seeing each item as a memory clutching tightly to a story left unheard. Among the clutter, a weather-beaten sailor's cap caught his eye. It felt familiar, a tangible reminder of his father's adventures at sea. With each item Noah uncovered, a few worn toys, odd knickknacks, and fading letters, He began to piece together a version of a man he yearned to know. Each find made him feel less alone, as if he were building a bridge to connect the past with his present. Then, hidden beneath a pile of worn blankets, Noah found a small, leather-bound notebook. The cover was cracked and faded, yet he could sense its significance. As he opened it, his excitement surged at the sight of his father's handwriting, unique and recognizable, ink flowing across the pages. Each entry unfolded tales of voyages to distant lands, recounting the thrill of sailing through storms and the simple joys found on sunlit shores. Noah immersed himself in the stories, feeling a deep kinship with the man who had captured adventure through his words. Yet, as he read further, the tone shifted from jubilant exploration to somber reflections. Descriptions of a looming storm emerged, accompanied by a palpable fear for what the future might hold. The ink became more frantic, revealing regrets of an unfulfilled promise, the promise of returning to the son he had left behind. "If I lose my way, will I also lose you?" Minimal words, yet powerful. Each line dripped with raw emotion, rekindling a longing inside Noah he had kept tucked away. The final entry sent chills through him. It mentioned a fierce tempest that had threatened to claim everything. Noah could hardly stomach the weight of those words, sensing that they were not just metaphors but the reality of his father's fate. The realization settled heavily on his young soul. The ocean, which once symbolized adventure, was intertwined with loss. As he processed the revelations, a gentle tapping interrupted his thoughts. Noah turned to the attic door where Sarah stood, the caretaker he had grown fond of. "I had a feeling I might find you here," she said, her gaze drifting to the mess of artifacts. "You've been searching, haven't you?" "I need to know about him," Noah admitted, holding up the notebook as if it were a prized treasure. Her expression softened, a blend of understanding and concern etched on her face. "The past can be dense, Noah. It holds truths that can be difficult to bear." But as fear mixed with determination within him, he countered, "I have to know what happened. I can't keep feeling lost anymore." He clutched the notebook tighter, feeling its weight as a symbol of his determination. Sarah considered his words carefully. "Perhaps we should delve deeper together. There are records at the town archives about your father, documents, maybe even more letters that could shed light on his life." Noah's eyes brightened with hope. "You would help me?" "Of course," she replied, her smile reassuring. "You deserve to uncover the truth about your family." With book in hand, they left the attic. The expedition to the archives felt like a breath of fresh air, a sunlight path leading Noah closer to the roots of his identity. The anticipation swelled within him as he imagined the answers that awaited. Each step forward not only brought clarity about his father, but also a powerful connection to his own becoming. If you also feel this ache in your chest, consider liking and subscribing. Someone else might need to hear this story today. As he walked alongside Sarah, Noah found confidence blooming within him. With newfound determination, he recognized that the journey ahead would not merely reveal his father's past, but guide him toward embracing his own future. The ocean, once an emblem of torment, was now becoming the backdrop of his exploration, an adventure in its own right, promising the possibility of healing, understanding, and ultimately belonging. As they walked through the cobblestone streets toward the town archives, Noah felt an electric blend of excitement and anxiety coursing through him. The sun hung high in the sky, its golden rays casting a warm glow over the quaint buildings that lined the roads, their chipped paint and weathered shutters telling stories of their own. The aroma of baked bread wafted from a nearby bakery, momentarily distracting him, but his mind quickly returned to the task at hand. The town archives represented a portal to his father's past, a tether to the legacy he was desperate to understand. They arrived at a modest brick building, its facade softened by the creeping ivy that clung to the walls. Noah hesitated at the door, the weight of uncertainty gnawing at him. "What if I find out something I'm not ready to hear?" he murmured, his heart racing. Sarah turned to him, her expression empathetic and encouraging. "Unearthing the truth can be daunting, but it's a journey worth taking. Whatever comes, remember that you have people by your side, ready to help you navigate." With a deep breath, Noah pushed the door open, the creak echoing in the quiet space. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of old paper and ink, a comforting aroma that felt like home to him. Rows of shelves were lined with historical records, yellowed documents and stacks of books, each waiting for someone to unravel its secrets. "Let's start with the records about your father," Sarah suggested, leading him to a large wooden table in the center of the room. "I'll help you look through the files." Noah nodded, his heart pounding as he settled into the chair, the notebook still clutched in his hands. It felt like a tangible connection to both his father and his own courage. As Sarah began pulling out files, he scanned the titles, his pulse quickening with each one that hinted at his family history. They uncovered a series of documents, ship logs, birth records, and even a few newspaper clippings. One particularly yellowed article caught Noah's eye. "Local sailor lost at sea." His heart dropped as he scanned the words, detailing a shipwreck during a fierce storm, the same storm that echoed in his father's notebook. He felt a lump form in his throat, the reality of his father's last journey washing over him like a tidal wave. "Noah, look at this," Sarah said, interrupting his thoughts as she laid a worn map on the table. It depicted coastal routes with faded lines and annotations, marks indicating various harbor destinations. "This could be where your father's ship traveled." Noah leaned closer, tracing the routes with his finger, his mind spinning with possibilities. He was dreaming of adventure, of exploring everything, he whispered, the gravity of it all sinking in. Each squiggle represented a hope, a promise, and now a haunting tragedy. They pored over the records, unraveling snippets of history, his father's name, recorded in various places, each piece adding a layer to the man he had only known in fleeting memories and faded photographs. He learned of his father's determination to venture into the unknown, the excitement of adventure that had drawn him away from Noah. But there was also the contradiction of the man who yearned to return, who had been planning to come home right before everything had gone wrong. With each new document, the haunting questions multiplied in Noah's mind. Why hadn't his father returned? Was there a chance the tragedy had been preventable? He felt the sting of frustration mixing with despair. Why did he have to leave? Why couldn't he have just come home? The last words hung in the air as echoes of his long-buried grievances arose. Sarah's gentle voice broke through, layering understanding over his hurt. "Noah, sometimes the forces of nature are beyond our control. It's not about blame, it's about understanding the reality of what happened." Noah took a moment to absorb her words, feeling the heat of tears prick his eyes once again. Was he still angry at his father for leaving, or was it just the pain of loss that tangled in his heart? Seeking clarity, he continued to explore the documentation, his resolve only growing stronger. As they ventured deeper into the archives, another article emerged from the depths of a worn folder, one with a headline that jerked Noah's attention: "Heroic efforts to rescue shipwrecked crew." The details painted a vivid picture of local fishermen organized to search for survivors after the storm had passed. He felt a surge of pride mixed with sorrow, realizing that his father had fought valiantly, a hero grappling against the waves that ultimately claimed him. He examined the photo accompanying the article, his breath catching. A group of men stood beside the wreckage of a boat, faces grim yet resolute. Among them, he recognized a familiar face, the same face from the photograph he had found in the attic. His heart thundered as he suddenly felt a connection to those unnamed men. They were part of a community that had tried to save his father, who had given everything to protect his dreams and the ones he loved. "Noah," Sarah gently nudged his arm, pulling him back from his reverie. "I know this is heavy, but look at the names of those involved in the rescue. Maybe there's another thread to your father's story." As they pored over the names, a strange mix of determination and elation radiated through Noah. There was one name that stood out, a name he'd heard whispered in the orphanage, a distant relative known only by the tales of folks in town. "Hargrove," he repeated, feeling it stir something within him. "Yes, Hargrove," and Sarah confirmed. "He could still be around. Perhaps he has more insights into your father's life. Would you want to meet him?" Noah felt his pulse quicken, a living link to his family. "Yes, I need to," he said, resolve hardening in his heart. For the first time, he felt the potential to reclaim pieces of his history. As they collected the articles and concluded their visit to the archives, Noah was filled with both hope and purpose. The journey was far from over. Yet each step forward brought him closer to the revelations his heart had yearned for. If you also feel this ache in your chest, consider liking and subscribing. Someone else might need to hear this story today. The ocean, a place of heartbreak, was now transforming into a realm of discovery. With each wave that crashed on the shore, he sensed a future unfolding, a journey toward understanding, acceptance, and above all belonging that had long eluded him. The following day dawned with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The air held the promise of new beginnings as Noah and Sarah prepared to visit the home of Mr. Hargrove, the distant relative whose name had ignited a spark of hope in Noah's heart. Standing in front of the orphanage, Noah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of anticipation settle heavily upon him. This was no simple encounter. It was a foray into the unknown, a step toward reclaiming the pieces of a family he had never truly known. As they walked toward Mr. Hargrove's house, their path twisted through a vibrant neighborhood. Children laughed in the distance, their joy clashing with the somber backdrop of Noah's thoughts as he remembered his own quiet childhood. With every step closer to Mr. Hargrove's door, he wondered what secrets lay beyond. Would this man know the stories of his father? Would he carry the weight of disappointment in his heart, or would he share tales of adventure and yearning? Before long, Sarah gestured toward a charming house framed by a lush garden. Flowers danced in the gentle breeze, brimming with color amid the warmth of the sun. Noah felt his throat constrict as he stepped onto the porch, the moment of truth looming ahead. He raised his hand and knocked softly, and the resounding sound echoed in his chest. The door creaked open, and Mr. Hargrove appeared, an elderly man with a kind face etched with experiences. His gray hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes sparkled with wisdom. He studied Noah with a quiet curiosity before breaking into a warm smile. "You must be Noah," he said, his voice rich and soothing. Come in, come in." Noah followed Sarah inside with heartbeats drumming in his ears, both trepidation and excitement coursing through him. The living room was cozy and cluttered, filled with books, trinkets, and photographs. Family portraits adorned the walls, glinting with memories from another time. Noah felt the air thick with history, a residue of love and loss. After a brief introduction, Noah decided to be straightforward. "I'm looking for answers about my father," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "I found some documents in the archive, and your name was mentioned. I need to know what happened to him." The revelation hung in the air, heavy and charged. Mr. Hargrove's expression shifted, a flicker of acknowledgement crossing his features. "Your father was a remarkable man," he began, inviting them to sit down. He had a passion for the sea, a passion that both inspired and consumed him. Noah listened intently as Mr. Hargrove recounted tales of his father as a young adventurer, full of dreams and aspirations. With every word, Noah painted a picture of a man who had loved fiercely, who had sought out the profound beauty of distant horizons, but had ultimately paid a price for those dreams. It was both enlightening and painful, the duality of pride and sorrow deepening within him. "He loved you very much, Noah," Mr. Hargrove continued, his voice tinged with empathy. "He spoke of you often. In his heart, you were as infinite as the ocean. The storms he faced were not merely waves. They were reflections of his struggles, a longing to protect you from his choices and the chaos of life at sea. It was never his intention to leave you." Noah absorbed the words like a sponge, the layers of grief and love intertwining in a tapestry of understanding. The man across from him was a doorway to the past, offering glimpses into the life not lived together, the moments not shared. "I just want to know that he didn't forget me," Noah said, the tears welling in his eyes. Mr. Hargrove reached for an old box tucked in the corner of the room. "Then you should see this." He opened the box, revealing a collection of letters, each one carefully folded and preserved. "These were written by your father during his voyages. They portray his life at sea, but also his reflections on family. You are woven through every letter, Noah." Noah took a shaky breath, eager yet hesitant to delve into an intimacy he had longed for. He withdrew a letter and unfolded it, the handwriting flowing gracefully across the yellowed paper. His father spoke of sunsets over the ocean, of wild storms, and of the struggles against nature. Yet through it all he wrote about the heartache of being apart. "You are my anchor," one passage read. "Every wave I conquer is for you. Every storm endured is a testament to my love. I promise to return, always." As he read, Noah felt the weight lift off his chest. The letters painted a vivid picture of his father's life, revealing the purest form of love, a love wrapped in longing and daring adventures. These weren't merely words. They were his father's soul laid bare, struggling between the call of the sea and his devotion to Noah. Tears blurred Noah's vision as he absorbed the depth of those letters. Each line was akin to a heartbeat connecting him with the man he had yearned to understand. Though cut from his life too soon, his father, through ink and sentiment, made his existence felt. He finally understood the complexity of love caught between dreams and reality. After reading several letters, Noah looked up, his heart full. "Thank you," he said genuinely, the words holding weight. Mr. Hargrove smiled, recognizing the peace that began to seep into Noah's heart, knowing that this meeting was part of a healing journey for a boy who had been searching for connection. As the conversation flowed, Noah learned not only about his father, but discovered more about his family's history, their lineage woven deeply into the fabric of the community. It felt as if the scars of his past were finally beginning to heal, replaced with a budding sense of belonging. Before long, the sun dipped low, showering warmth through the windows, casting a golden glow across the room. As the shadows stretched, Noah knew it was time to leave this haven filled with newfound treasures, the missing memories now woven back into the weight of his existence. Sarah gently placed a hand on Noah's shoulder. "These are the stories that tie you to him and to your future. You carry this legacy with you now." With a feeling of fullness he had never experienced before, a tender smile graced Noah's face. He was no longer just an abandoned boy. He was Noah, the son of a sailor who dreamed too fiercely, who fought the waves for love and family. He understood that though his father had been lost, their connection was eternal. As he stepped outside, the evening air was crisp and full of promise. The ocean's calls echoed behind him, reminding him of the adventures he would have yet to undertake. If you also feel this ache in your chest, consider liking and subscribing. Someone else might need to hear this story today. He would carry his father's legacy into his future, about to navigate a world brimming with opportunity and belonging. With each step, he felt the tides of change swell around him. He was ready to embrace the unknown, knowing that love had the power to bridge the vastest distances. Noah had not only reclaimed pieces of his past, but also unearthed a compass, guiding him toward a horizon filled with hope. In the end, he walked away not just with stories, but with a family, his roots intertwined with a foundation solid enough to sustain him through life's unpredictable seas. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Noah felt a lightness in his heart that he hadn't known before. The conversations with Mr. Hargrove, enriched with stories of his father, wrapped around him like a comforting embrace, filling the void of his past with renewed purpose. With Sarah by his side, he navigated the familiar streets back to the orphanage, the place that had felt oppressively small, now shimmering with the promise of growth and potential. In the days following his meeting with Mr. Hargrove, Noah became absorbed in his father's letters. Each carefully penned note unfolded rich tales of adventure, love, and dreams that stretched across oceans. Writing became a sanctuary for him, a space where he could share his thoughts and feelings with the father he was only just getting to know. He'd write about his daily life, the other children at the orphanage, and the breathtaking beauty of the ocean. The act of writing felt cathartic, providing a bridge across time, allowing him to communicate with the man who had fought so valiantly for a life he never got to witness. Recognizing the power of storytelling to heal, Noah began organizing casual gatherings at the orphanage. He invited the older children to share their own stories about family, love, and dreams, anything that created bonds among them. One sunny afternoon, as laughter echoed in the garden, Noah noticed Mia, a quiet girl with a gentle heart, hesitating to speak up. Encouraged by the warmth of their friendship, he gently nudged her to share. Tentatively, Mia opened up about her cherished memories of her grandmother's garden, a lush sanctuary filled with vibrant flowers and laughter. Her eyes flourished with a mix of nostalgia and longing, pulling the other children into her beautiful recollections. Inspired, Noah stood up, a spark igniting within him. "Maybe we can plant a garden here too," he proposed excitedly, his heart pounding with potential. "A legacy of our own." The idea quickly took wing among the children as they banded together, zealously transforming a neglected patch of land adjacent to the orphanage. With dirt-covered hands they dug together, planting their hopes alongside flowers, nurturing not just the soil but their friendships as well. They laughed and shared stories as the garden blossomed, each flower a testament to their shared experiences, fears, and dreams. As summer approached, a spirit of adventure began to stir within Noah. The ocean, which had been a source of deep callings in his heart, now resonated louder than ever. Fueled by the stories of seafaring heroes and longing to connect with his father's spirit, he decided to volunteer at the local sailing club. With Sarah's encouragement, they ventured to the harbor, where boats danced rhythmically on the water. The vibrant atmosphere filled Noah with anticipation. Inside the sailing club's welcoming walls, he met Captain Barnaby, a seasoned sailor whose weathered face and glinting eyes seemed to sparkle with stories of the sea. "I'd like to learn how to sail," Noah said, determination echoing in his voice. "My father was a sailor, and I want to carry on his legacy." "A brave young sailor indeed," Captain Barnaby chuckled warmly. "We'll start with the basics, but remember, sailing is as much about understanding the wind as it is about the boat." Days turned into weeks as Noah became immersed in sailing, each lesson unveiling new wonders. Under Captain Barnaby's mentorship, he soared across the water like a bird taking flight. The gentle crests of the waves nourished his spirit, and every time he unfurled the sails, he felt his father beside him, a guiding presence lighting the way forward. One memorable afternoon brought a significant breakthrough. Captivated by the wind swirling around him, Noah suddenly felt a rush of freedom as the boat danced atop the waves. He adjusted the sail, steering with confidence, breathing in the salty air as the sun warmed his skin. At that moment, he closed his eyes, envisioning his father on the deck beside him, the two of them navigating life's unpredictable waters together. "I'm learning," he whispered, feeling the sea's embrace echo those words back to him. Instinctively, he knew he was not just learning how to sail, he was reclaiming a part of himself. If you also feel this ache in your chest, consider liking and subscribing. Someone else might need to hear this story today. Every trip out to the water solidified Noah's understanding of his identity. The threads of resilience he had woven over the years intertwined seamlessly with the ocean's influences, crafting a rich tapestry of hope and belonging. Meanwhile, the garden flourished as well, alive with color and life, each blossom a testament to the camaraderie and love shared among the children at the orphanage. As they tended to their sanctuary, Noah realized how much transformation had taken place, not only in the garden, but also within himself. The nurturing bond formed through their collective effort mirrored the journey he was undertaking, one that wove together past, present, and a blossoming future. As time unfurled, the sailing club developed into a source of greater community connection. Noah's enthusiasm inspired new friendships among other young sailors, forging bonds rooted in shared passion and adventure. He became an intrinsic part of the club's family, taking comfort in the understanding that he was no longer alone in his journey. With every sunset he witnessed from the water, and every word exchanged among the laughter of new friends, his world expanded. The weight of isolation lessened as the knowledge that love and legacy were as expansive as the ocean drew him closer to the essence of who he was meant to be. Noah embraced this vibrant chapter of his life, sailing into uncharted horizons, buoyed by the love that transcended loss. He knew this was a journey without an end, driven by a relentless pursuit of hope, belonging, and the pursuit of a life filled with stories yet to be told. Each experience was a wave guiding him forward, illuminating the path he would navigate with courage and strength, all while honoring the cherished memory of the father he had finally come to know. As the sun shone brightly over the harbor, Noah absorbed the joy of summer, inhaling the salty breeze that carried whispers of adventure. The sailing club had transformed into a haven where he forged bonds that eclipsed the loneliness of his past. Combining his love for sailing with the community spirit he had nurtured, Noah eagerly anticipated the upcoming open day. The event promised to blend the flourishing garden at the orphanage with the excitement of sailing, a celebration of resilience and connection. On the day of the event, laughter rang out, mingling with the sounds of waves crashing against the docks. The garden, vibrant with colors, stood as a testament to the friendships formed over countless afternoons. Flowers bloomed like the spirits of the children who tended to them, each petal representing shared moments and stories that brought them closer together. Noah stood beside Sarah at the entrance of the sailing club. The aroma of grilled treats wafted through the air, mingling with the sound of excited chatter. As families approached, Noah felt a surge of nervous energy. This was more than just a gathering. It was an opportunity to showcase everything they had built together. "Look at them!" Sarah beamed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "They're here because of you." Noah's heart swelled. He remembered the days of isolation at the orphanage. And now, surrounded by laughter and friendly faces, he no longer felt like an outsider. He smiled back at her, gratitude spilling from his heart. As the event kicked into high gear, Noah took the microphone to welcome everyone. "Thank you all for coming. Today we celebrate not just sailing and gardening, but community," he said, his voice steady despite the flutter of nerves. "These gardens bloom because of our shared care, much like our friendships." He gestured to the colorful arrangements, feeling as if the words connected him to his father, and all the stories unspoken. Families poured into the sailing area, eager to try their hands at sailing. With Captain Barnaby's experienced guidance, Noah led small groups onto the water, teaching them the basics of sailing. He felt a wave of joy wash over him as families laughed, learning to navigate their small boats. Being a part of their celebrations filled him with a sense of purpose and fulfillment, knowing that he was sharing something deeply meaningful. One particular family, with two young girls giggling in excitement, pulled Noah's attention. After a successful outing, the girls rushed to him, their faces alight with joy. "That was amazing. Can we come back tomorrow?" one asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "Of course," Noah replied, beaming. The optimism surrounding the day sunk deep in his heart, a blend of hope and accomplishment. As the event transitioned from sailing to a gathering in the garden, laughter erupted while children darted between flowers, their joy palpable. Noah watched the camaraderie bloom around him. These interactions weaved connections that had once seemed unattainable, shattering the remnants of his loneliness. The garden, tended by their hands, felt alive with the spirit of friendship. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the festivities, Noah gathered everyone for a final toast. "To new friendships, shared dreams, and the journey still ahead," he declared, raising a glass of lemonade. The cheers and laughter that followed resonated in his chest, a powerful reminder of how far he had come. After the crowd dispersed, Noah found himself alone for a moment, reflecting on the day's events. The weight of isolation had fallen away, replaced by a web of interconnected lives, each person a part of his story, enriching it in ways he had never imagined. He took a deep breath, the ocean breeze filling him with a renewed sense of purpose. In that moment, he realized that this was just the beginning, not only of a wonderful new chapter in his life, but also about forming deeper connections with those around him. He envisioned a future where he continued to sail the waters of life alongside his friends, carrying forward the legacy of love and adventure passed down to him from his father. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Noah felt ready to embrace whatever awaited him, knowing he would navigate it with the courage he had discovered within himself and the warmth of a community that had become a family.